Before we talk about pipelines, borders, and billions of dollars, let's start with a word. Type Leviathan into Google. Here's what comes back. A biblical sea monster often described as a massive, coiled, fire-breathing creature or serpent symbolizing chaos or divine power. Metaphorically, it refers to any sea creature of immense size, or a large, powerful entity, such as corporations or governments, that can crush smaller elements. That's the name Israel gave its largest offshore gas field. Discovered in 2010, valued today at $18.7 billion, the cornerstone of the Israeli economy. Now, you could say they named it after a sea creature because it sits in the sea. Fair enough. But consider this. In 1651, the philosopher Thomas Hobbes wrote what became one of the most influential political texts in history. He called it Leviathan. His argument? That a single, all-powerful sovereign must dominate the smaller actors around it, absorbing them, crushing them if necessary, justified as the only path to order and stability. The book's famous cover shows a giant figure towering over the landscape, composed of thousands of tiny subjects beneath it. Israel named an $18.7 billion national asset, one they knew from day one would reshape the entire Eastern Mediterranean energy market, after the unstoppable sovereign that devours everything around it. And they can always say, it's just a sea creature. Make of that what you will, but keep it in mind as we walk through what's happened in the last 90 days. In January 2026, weeks before the first shot was fired, Chevron and its partners NewMed and Ratio approved a $2.36 billion expansion of the Leviathan platform, nearly doubling its output, from enough gas to heat about 11 million homes a year to nearly 20 million. The platform, sitting about 6 miles off the coast of Dor, Israel, was simultaneously revalued at $18.7 billion based on proven reserves. This is not a gas field. It's a national economic engine, and it was being turbocharged on the eve of a regional war. Critically, Chevron's own president said publicly that pragmatic U.S. and regional energy policies gave them the confidence to commit. That quote, from a major American oil company, on the record in January 2026, is the first thread connecting Washington's posture to what comes next. How Israel turned a regional war into a profit machine. This is not a simple story of Iran attacking Qatar. The sequence matters. Israel struck South Pars, Iran's largest gas field, which Iran shares with Qatar, on March 18th. Iran retaliated by hitting Ras Laffan, Qatar's liquefied natural gas hub, the largest facility of its kind in the world. The missile damage destroyed 2 liquefaction units, the machines that freeze natural gas into liquid so it can be loaded onto tanker ships, knocking out 17% of Qatar's export capacity. Damage that QatarEnergy CEO said will take 3 to 5 years and $26 billion to repair. Qatar declared an emergency clause canceling long-term supply contracts with Belgium, Italy, South Korea, and China. European gas prices surged up to 35% in a single day on March 19th. Gas prices in Europe had already doubled since the war began February 28th. Meanwhile, Leviathan is pumping at record levels, fully operational, fully insured, under military protection, and its expansion was already locked in. The war didn't create this advantage, it activated it. One more detail worth noting. ExxonMobil held stakes in both damaged Qatar liquefaction units. Chevron, Leviathan's operator, took none of that damage. American energy capital is being redistributed eastward toward Israel. That's not commentary, that's the ownership structure. On January 9th, 2026, the same month Chevron locked in the Leviathan expansion, TotalEnergies, Eni, and QatarEnergy signed for Block 8 off Lebanon's southern coast. The consortium's plan was straightforward. Use sonar imaging to map about 460 square miles of ocean floor, roughly the size of Los Angeles, to see what's underneath. Then decide by early 2029 whether to drill or drop the block. That 2029 deadline is the key date. It's also the same window in which Leviathan's expanded capacity comes online and locks up long-term supply contracts with Europe and Egypt. Here's what war did to Block 8. The March 16th ground incursion into southern Lebanon halted all ocean floor mapping operations. No commercial vessel gets insurance to conduct surveys in an active war zone. No energy major gets board approval to drill in contested waters with a live military conflict on the border. And Lebanon has no other options. Block 9, the only other viable prospect, already came up dry in late 2023. Block 8 is Lebanon's last shot, and the clock is running. The war doesn't need to physically destroy Block 8. It just needs to burn enough time that Lebanon misses the 2029 deadline and the consortium drops the block. Right as Leviathan goes to full capacity and Europe signs decade-long replacement contracts with Israel and Egypt. You don't need to take the territory if you can make it ungovernable. On March 17th, Israeli Energy Minister Eli Cohen announced Israel was considering canceling the 2022 U.S.-brokered Maritime Border Agreement, the deal that settled the Lebanon-Israel maritime boundary at Line 23 and gave each country defined exploration rights. He called it a document of surrender. Here's what cancellation actually does, and it's more powerful than moving a borderline. The 2022 agreement is registered with the United Nations. It's what gave TotalEnergies the legal basis to operate in Lebanese waters. Without it, Block 8 doesn't become Lebanese territory or Israeli territory. It becomes no man's land. A legally contested zone that no insurance underwriter, no bank, and no board of directors will touch. In the energy business, legal uncertainty is as fatal as a missile strike. You don't need to seize a gas field to kill it. You just need to make it undevelopable. Israel doesn't need Line 29. Israel doesn't need to plant a flag on Block 8. It needs the 2022 agreement gone, the war to drag past the 2029 deadline, and Leviathan contracts already signed. After that, the outcome for Lebanon is the same, a generation without gas revenue, regardless of which line sits on which map. The Trump administration's coordination on the broader military campaign provides the diplomatic cover. A unilateral Israeli cancellation of an internationally registered agreement would normally face immediate U.S. pushback. So far, there has been none. 4 events, 1 outcome. Leviathan expansion locked in. January 2026. War begins. Block 8 surveys halted. February to March 2026. South Pars struck. Qatar offline. European prices spike. March 18th to 19th, 2026. Maritime deal threatened. Block 8 thrown into legal limbo. March 17th, 2026. Every move benefits the same platform. Every casualty in the gas market points to the same winner. That's the story. That's the story of this war. But it's not a news story. Since 1948, the year this country was founded, it has launched 22 military operations. I'm going to read them. 1948, 1956, the 1960s reprisal raids, 1967, the War of Attrition, 1973, 1978 into Lebanon, 1982 into Lebanon again, the First Intifada, the Second Intifada, 2006, Lebanon a third time, 2008, Gaza, 2012, Gaza, 2014, Gaza, an air campaign inside Syria running since 2012, 2021, Gaza again, 2023, Gaza again, 2024, Lebanon a fourth time, 2024 into Syria, June 2025, Iran, and now, February 2026, Iran again. 22 operations, 78 years, a new war every 3.5 years for the entire life of the country. No nation in modern history matches that rate, and in the majority of those conflicts, Israel struck first. 82% of the population supports the current war. 93% of the majority population, 3% opposed. For comparison, American support for this same war is 38%, the lowest opening number for any American war ever recorded. Every war America fights gets less popular over time. Every single one. Israel is the only country where support reloads between conflicts. Now consider what Israeli citizens receive from their government. Universal health care, ranked third most efficient in the world. 90% tuition discount for anyone who completes military service. Combat soldiers get their entire degree paid for. And if you immigrate, they hand you cash at the airport. Monthly stipends for 6 months. Housing subsidies for up to 5 years. Free Hebrew classes with a stipend just for showing up. Tax-free foreign income for a decade. A subsidized mortgage for 15 years. Free college. This is a country of 9.3 million people, the size of New Jersey. No significant oil production. No vast agricultural exports. One real economic engine, offshore natural gas. How does a country that small fund all of that and fight a new war every 3.5 years without the wars themselves being part of the business model? The taxes Israel collects from every company pulling gas out of the Mediterranean, the royalties, the corporate tax, the windfall levy on super profits, flow into a sovereign wealth fund. Its official name is the Citizens of Israel Fund. Revenue that increases every time a competitor goes offline. Revenue that's projected to double this year and double again next year, precisely as Leviathan's wartime expansion comes online. At the beginning of this, I told you to remember a name. The philosopher Thomas Hobbes wrote that a single, all-powerful sovereign must dominate the smaller actors around it, absorbing them, crushing them if necessary, justified as the only path to order and stability. 22 wars, 78 years, a gas field that devours every competitor around it, a wealth fund named after the citizens, and a population that asks for more.